Well, thank you. And, the big question I think that we face here, earlier today we voted on a tax extender package, $600+ billion. None of it was paid for, at least as it relates to what was done today. But I think reasonable people understand that because making these tax breaks permanent in a way where they were not paid for ultimately is going to blow a tremendous hole in the deficit. And that as we move forward, the people who will pay for the tax cuts that were passed out of this House earlier today, hundreds of billions of dollars, notwithstanding the earned income tax credit and the child care tax credit that, of course, many of us support. The people who will pay for it will be the poor, the sick, the afflicted, working families, those who need assistance. And so in good conscience, there's no way that I could support the tax extender package and go back home to my community and say we've just done a good thing. And as it relates to the omnibus, I think we all have to ask the question, if the plus up in the omnibus is somewhere in the neighborhood of $31 or $32 billion in additional spending, yet we understand that in the tax extender package, hundreds of billions of dollars were unpaid for over a 10-year period, and ultimately someone's going to pay the price for that. That's one of the reasons why we got something like sequestration. We got jammed as a result of tax cuts that were not paid for in 2001, tax cuts that were not paid for in 2003, a failed war in Iraq, a failed war in Afghanistan. None of that was paid for. Ultimately, we find ourselves in fiscal difficulty. Who pays? The most vulnerable in America. That's how we got sequestration. And so I'm not convinced that we're not going to find ourselves in a similar situation moving forward as a result of what was done with this tax extender package today. And I'm in the process of continuing to review the omnibus bill and trying to weigh and balance the equities. I will tell you, though, that the failure to do something for the people of Puerto Rico is greatly troubling because it doesn't cost the taxpayers anything. And the fact that some of the programs to urban America, whether that's historically black colleges and universities, may not have received the resources that some of us think they deserve, and we've got concerns as it relates to some of the foreclosure prevention issues and some other areas. We're all going to have to take a look at the equities, but it is clear that we should be able to do much better for the American people, for those that we've come to the Congress to represent, for those who have disproportionately borne the burden of reckless and irresponsible fiscal policies over the past decade or so. And let's just hope that we can proceed to do things differently in a way that benefits those we represent here in America. So I thank the distinguished gentlelady for her opportunities to speak further on this issue, and also want to acknowledge my good friend Keith Ellison, who's a tremendous champion for working families all